Pick 'em, clip 'em, and light 'em, boys. Deadwood Tobacco's about to blow some smoke. Introducing the lineup for tonight. Your pretty boy and host, the always handsome Pierce. The freestyle and visionary of Deadwood Tobacco, Wild Bill. Fresh off the boat and quick with his smoke, introducing Stash. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Deadwood Tobacco Company Blow and Smoke Podcast. I am your host, Handsome Pierce, joined by the long-awaited return of Wild Bill. Bam. And what the fuck is that?
Ooh, what is that?
Oh, man.
That's the bass dropping to the level.
Hey, there's some feedback, brah.
There's a
Some,
big,
like,
big truck
humming.
going by or something.
No, it's only in the cans.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
There we go.
We got feedback. We're just
Oh,
Went
what were
away.
you doing over there?
That was the big woofers outside.
Oh,
Oh, was that
that's
what that
crazy.
was?
Okay. Do
Alright.
I need to start again?
No. Just keep rolling.
Just right in the middle of, and Stash is here too.
Hey.
Hey,
There we go.
all right.
Stash.
Hey.
Thank you for the bass for the young man driving by. That was fucking awesome. Or lady.
Oops, sorry.
Jesus. Good to have you back.
Excuse me. Yeah, I forgot what I'm doing here.
Fucker. Today we are discussing a little bit more history. We're kind of in a history jive. We're kind of in a history mood. So we're talking about the history of tobacco over time. Probably geared more towards the Wild West, but a little brief history from way back when. Ethan, roll that beautiful bean footage. No.
Or not.
Sorry. The guy in the booth is really messing up. So we're going to take you down a little bit of a lane here. I can't read the fucking thing. Last week we were talking about the history of Deadwood, which is always interesting. Thanks again, Brad, for coming on and schooling us a little bit on the horse and everything else that's to do with history.
Horses?
Horse.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Horse.
Sorry. I was like, whoa.
Hors d'oeuvres.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres.
With a hard ho. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is never mind.
Horse doovers and creepies. That's what I like in the morning.
Good old Calamity Jane.
Yes.
Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jane.
So wait a minute. Who decided this theme today?
Hey, you want to put the microphone up? Or,
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Hi, how you doing? See what happens?
We're
when
all a
you're
little bit rusty.
I was going in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about your little
Recap
trip
of
to Las
last week. That would be you.
Yeah, recap of last week. So we took out Grammy Grimes to the trade show out there at PCA, and he got to experience what the industry is, right? Relationships.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
he met some people, shook some hands, and it was very interesting because,
The quiet boy had to talk.
well, not only that, but it was funny because he felt weirded out. Because people would come up to him and be like, "Oh, you're Deadwood Tobacco Company." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Your stuff's flying off the shelf," and he's like,
Yeah, sure.
"Yeah."
Right.
Yep.
What stuff? And they'd
What
say
other
that
brands?
cigar, right? And then he would be like, "Oh, you never heard of the new one?" And then we'd walk away, and he's like, "They made me feel weird, like I'm some star in Hollywood." I'm like, "Welcome to Deadwood Tobacco Company."
Yeah.
And then he met, like you guys did when we were out there, he met Pete,
Yeah.
and then he walked away. He's like, "He owns that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I didn't think that."
Yeah.
It really is interesting when you put the face to the names of the people that actually run the cigar shop. And they're always, well, not always, mostly so down to earth and just, hey, how's it going? You know, just a little bit of chatty, a little bit of small talk, a little bit of industry, a little bit of, you
Yeah.
know,
Life.
rubbing elbows and, yeah, whatever.
Oh, it was funny to him because a lot of different booths that we walked into placed our orders, and the customers there would walk up to us and blah, blah, blah. And he just got weirded out for the man that don't talk
Right.
Right.
in retail.
He's like, it's like being in a fishbowl. I asked him, how's it going down here? He's like, I'm like in a fishbowl. I'm lost. I'm like, just walk around.
Yeah, it
You'll be
gets
all right.
better.
Yeah.
Just keep walking.
Yeah, we went, like always, we go to a couple places to eat. And
Right.
then at CLE, Christian had his 50th birthday
Ah.
in 10 years. So they had a little celebration there, and we got invited to that.
Nice.
He has his 50th birthday in 10 years.
No, 10 years asylum COE, 50 years
I
old.
was like, so his 40th?
Yes.
No, it was funny because little smoking club at that place, cigar bar, whatever. They had some music going, and we're not big drinkers,
Yeah.
so everybody was drinking. We're smoking a cigar, and I'm like, "Can I have a bottle of water?" And the lady looked at me weird, and he's like, "Can I have one?"
Yeah.
We're not drinkers.
Yeah.
So then we found a seat and we sat down, and he took a puff, and it was towards the end of the evening, and he got really tripped out. He thought something was in his cigar because the Cherry had a subwoofer right behind it, and they started playing some boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, and he blew out his smoke at the same time, and it weirded him out because the smoke went boom,
Yeah, it was
boom,
doing that.
boom,
Yeah.
and he was like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Vegas, baby. That's
Yeah.
what
Right.
happens.
Even the smoke doesn't fly
But
straight.
I'm going to throw out one plug, and it has nothing to do really with PCA.
Okay.
It has everything to do with that big NBA basketball player, Shaquille O'Neal. Look,
You got a new cigar out?
nah, man, that man's got a restaurant
Yeah,
called the Shack. It's chicken. Now
right across from our hotel last time.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we took an Uber because we were going to this Jewish deli, but it was closed. So this guy said, "Go here." We walked in and we were like, "Oh, I don't know about this." We sit down. They got beers and all that.
Right.
It was just weird, fast food with beard. But we ordered a sandwich, and I go for the spicy coleslaw, the spicy chicken sandwich with the pepper jack cheese.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you know me, I didn't have Pepsi Complete, so I went over to Deep End. That was a good sandwich. We left there. I went, dang, that food was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Grimes goes, I wasn't sure about the food when we walked in. I go, neither was I. But we didn't have an Uber to get out of there, so we had to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, but we never made the Chick-fil-A run.
2 times in a row without a Chick-fil-A run.
And we tried to look for that bar where we had pizza.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the stairs.
For the fucking thing?
Yeah.
What?
In Old Vegas. Remember how we
Yeah,
just
no,
stumbled
I know
upon...
exactly where it is.
Well, we stumbled upon
Four
those.
Queens
We were
or
so,
whatever the fuck it is.
we were sober and we stumbled upon those stairs.
Yeah.
I was sober with him and I couldn't find the stairs.
This is right in the back of the thing and there's a little bit there.
Yeah, well, that's what did happen, but it didn't happen.
No. Fucking hate it when that happens.
I know, because we were going to go get a root beer and a cigar.
Did he go to the
Best.
gangsta Italian restaurant?
Yes, he
Oh,
did.
okay, so he got to taste that one. That was
Yeah, he
by far. That's,
got to taste the D?
That's always
he,
good.
he had
Yeah,
the
he had a
D.
little D.
He had the D.
It's Andiamo for anybody
Yeah.
that's wondering.
Yeah.
It's
He,
Andiamo. It's a wonderful place.
But it came to the one point at the end of the meal, and I'm like, "You ready for dessert and coffee?" He's like, "No,
Yeah,
no."
here it comes.
Yeah, because he didn't order pasta, so they brought him out. And
No,
said,
of
hey, you
course.
didn't order pasta. Here you go. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I warned him about the chopped salad.
Yeah.
I go, "There's more on the plate. You're gonna love it. You're gonna eat it all, but you
Remember, you still got shit coming.
So, oh, he was bloated.
Good.
That was his first meal, right?
Yeah.
And then we had breakfast, and then we had trade show lunch, which cleaned out the first 2 meals.
Yeah, I usually will.
And then we went to dinner the second night for some chicken place. Me and you went to the chicken with Rico
Oh,
in the Venetian. You had some like hominy grits with chicken or something.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
That
yeah,
southern
yeah,
place.
yeah.
Now we took him there, right?
Okay.
We didn't get to sit at the bar, so we sat at one of them little table couches looking things.
Right.
We ordered our food and sat there. Our waitress needs to understand that about an extra half inch would have been perfect because every time she slightly bent to serve the food,
Stuff was falling out.
you saw the whole rounded cheeks and
Yeah.
the particular color, if there was any.
Holy shit.
Right.
Yeah,
there we
it
go.
was like the food was great.
The food was great. I don't remember what the hell I ate.
So what
but
I'm
it was
trying to say by
good.
saying all this, food pretty good. Pretty fucking good.
The food was great.
Perfect.
But it's funny to look over at Grimes, right? Because he's going to take a bite and he looks up out of the corner beside and he's like, because
Yeah.
we started going like, is this the way they dress here? So we started looking at the other waitresses and we're like, no,
No.
that's her.
No, that's yeah.
And it was like, oh, I don't believe this. I understand it's Vegas. I understand it was a nice restaurant at the Venetian.
Right.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tip you for that reason in a nice restaurant.
Right.
If the service is great and the food's awesome, you're going to get your tip.
That's an Old Town thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But he got experience to that. Much like the lady that lost a cigar in the store this weekend,
Yes.
which
Holy
you lost out
shit.
on.
I missed that one, I guess.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It was a good trip. He had fun. We had a good time. He got some cigars, brought some back for you guys, and
Ton of cigars back.
but we didn't buy as much this year.
No.
We kind of cut back and didn't get stupid.
It's the way of the world. It's not
Yeah.
anything other than that.
But it has nothing to do with tobacco in the Old West, even
No.
though it's the West and it was a tobacco show.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's a pretty good lead-in.
kind
It's
of
better
ties
than,
into a little
better
bit.
than some of ours.
Yeah.
So, looking back at tobacco, 12,300 years old is the. Ethan, can you do that? Because I'm having a hard time reading through.
It said
This
used
light.
in ceremonies,
Fragrant
aroma.
aroma.
So
Fragrant-
like,
okay.
like some of the reading I did in the past, he's right. Like the indigenous population,
Mayans especially.
they would use it in rituals for prayers, and they'd actually store it in their ears, like an earring of today.
Yeah.
They'd have a hole, and they'd store the little tobaccos in there. Many different tribes did actually many different things back then, but keep going.
Well, the Mayans did plantains. Mm-hmm. They actually dried those leaves out, or age them and did everything.
Yeah.
So they smoked them, back in that time, and they basically rolled it just by itself in this rough looking, clip it down, and that was basically what they
See,
smoked.
That's kind of funny because one time this a while back, but
When
there
what?
was rumors floating around that people would smoke banana peels and get a little
Loopy.
Euphoria?
yeah, like
Yeah.
like weed.
Yeah.
And I was always like, who the hell is gonna eat a banana and then smoke it? I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
think about oysters
historic-
on the half shell. Who the hell thought sucking snot up into your mouth would be a really cool idea?
mean,
but
hey,
somehow
but I'm-
they did.
Historically, all that shit. Who's walking through a fucking field of cows and being like, there's a mushroom on that cow shit. I'm just going to
Yeah,
see,
let me try what
let me
this
see
does.
what this does.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But I will give the person on the oysters on the half shell decided to put champagne on it.
That-
person did a right thing.
Yeah, you're trying to clean up a bowl of snot. I get it.
Bubble that stuff
Yeah,
off.
bubble it up. It just-
Which is
Pretty
much
much.
like the history of tobacco.
Yes.
So Columbus, Europe, America is kind of what? That's the way everything went back then?
Well, no.
Hey, just a second. We're good.
It went that way. I think that was our sponsor,
We
Tupac
already named
Shakur.
one the shit show, correct?
Yes,
So this can't be the shit show like
because everything's going wrong.
yeah, everything's going wrong. No, so Columbus was the one that was marked for
Taking it
well,
away
yeah,
from.
discovering. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Considering
taking
it black gold.
right. And he wasn't a real smoker either, was he? He just brought it back as a bartering tool.
Yeah, they introduced
then.
the tobacco, the indigenous population, and they gave it to him, and he needed something to take back, basically. So
Right.
he's like, "This is the new gold."
Yeah. Hey guys, couldn't do that gold thing, but look at these little tiny seeds.
So Christopher Columbus and his men were the first Westerners to encounter tobacco in recorded history. Local Indians introduced the tobacco plant to Columbus's men through trade. So we gave them firewater.
Yes.
They gave us tobacco.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's the classic story of one of his ships was off the coast of Cuba, and they saw natives smoking these huge torpedo-like cigars.
Right.
Took all of that back to Portugal and
Queen
all
of
that.
Spain.
Yep.
And one of the dudes lit up one of those cigars in public. This is during the Spanish Inquisition. He was
Oh, he
charged.
was ridiculed,
His
wasn't
wife turned him in for witchcraft. He did 8 years, and then when he was released, cigars were being smoked fashionably on the city streets everywhere in Europe.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
So at the end of this, one of Columbus' lieutenants, who was particularly drawn to the primitive cigar smoking, smoked every single day on the long journey back home, which was usually about 3.5 to 4 months, depending on the winds.
Nice.
So
Now think about that tobacco back then. If you smoked it, could you imagine how stringent, how strong?
oh yeah.
Fucking strong as shit, yeah.
I mean,
Especially
now
since you have no
idea.
You have no idea. You have no. It's never been around you before. So
Take this shit, roll it up, and let's see what happens.
That's I mean,
literally
look,
where it went.
with understanding tobacco today, but look back then with this knowledge, and then you go, whoa,
It's not sweated. It's not cured. Right.
raw.
It's
All that
literally-
sugar and everything.
Pulled.
Man, that trip back home must have been awesome.
well,
Well,
said
they probably
didn't
got
even
better
dry
as
it
the
out
day
that
went
much.
on.
Yeah.
As-
Didn't
yeah.
they pick it, roll it, and light it up green?
Pretty much.
Fucking A.
So his cigars should have gotten a little bit better as the trip went on.
yeah, no,
So,
no wonder he wanted to spark one up in public.
yeah.
This shit is
There you
fire
go.
now. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
Good segue.
so
But realistically, since that time, and you look today, not much has changed in regards to it's still a raw piece of material.
yeah.
And it's still rolled up. It's just that we know what to do to get it to do what we want it to do.
And it's
today.
more woke than ever because it's fucking organic and it's natural.
Don't say that.
I mean,
was-
this
it
is
was
a
a
picture on the screen of the old rope tobacco that they would twist, literally roll it up into a rope, 100-pound ball, and they would put it into these huge barrels called.
Barrels.
There's a special name for it, right?
Yeah. Right.
And that's the stuff that soldiers on both sides of the line in the Civil War all had, and were breaking it, rolling it up, and smoking that stuff.
And see, on that illustration is what I was talking about with those clay pipes. They would start off like super long.
Yeah.
They were a rental pipe, and you would come into any tavern or whatever, and you wanted to rent a pipe for the night, then you just rent it. And at the end, when you were done with it, you'd break off the little piece that you had your mouth on and then hang it back on the wall, and whoever came in next.
Would that apply to COVID?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because you're safe.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Black Plague and shit. They didn't have to worry about COVID.
They were hardy people.
Yeah, they were.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
But they did that all the way back in England too, right, Stash?
Yep.
And that goes back
They've
to
found them in the Thames River back. Good Lord, I don't know.
right
Way back when.
a long time ago,
Yeah.
like pyramids or something.
They still find they've.
Son of a bitch.
No, that's Tupac Shakur.
No. That's Biggie, baby.
Whatever.
That's
Same
somebody-
time
When you
period.
call me Big Pop.
That's somebody blowing your fucking eye watch up. Is
Yeah,
what that really
I forgot
is.
to silence the phone. So
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
That ought to be cool. All right.
I mean, it was twice. It'll probably be a third time.
No, or more.
Now, you know what's funny back then, because the Civil War and smoking, right? Think about this, Stash. At nighttime, when they stopped fighting back then, they got to smoking. Think about all the red lit things you'd see. Because today, you don't smoke at night in the military.
No.
It's a no-no.
No, that's you're screwed
You're
if
dead.
you do that.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a sniper bullet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally, so a story I've known from the Civil War. So you think about it, most your tobacco was grown in the South.
Yeah.
So Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky,
PA.
up in there, PA. Well, PA was north.
Little
but-
north,
But most of, so they would fight during the day. And then there was actually, I've heard these stories of like a couple of them would break off at camp at night and creep down the way and go, "Psst, hey, buddy, come here, I'll swap you some of this for some of that." So basically they give them food, hardtack, something, because the Southerners were starving to damn death practically anyway. And they would give them the hardtack and their rations for
a rope of tobacco.
So, and then the next day they're shooting at each other again. So everything's back to normal. But
Yeah,
you
and
know,
then that day you try to sneak back out, and Johnny got shot and he's dead.
Yeah.
And some other punk stole his shit.
yeah, pretty much. So there was a lot of
Not fair.
weird stuff with that. But I mean, that was all part of the whole reason well, not the whole, I won't even say that was even the reason the Civil War started. But I mean, in the end, that was what ended all the.
There are some giggly
was
people out
that?
there. I do
Some
not know
ghosts
where
and
that's
shit
from.
somewhere.
But they
Get out.
But back then it was really mostly pipes they smoked out.
Right.
And
Right.
occasional person would do a cigar.
Right.
Not many people did what is currently popular in, say, Japan, cigarettes and Marlboro.
Yeah.
Right.
They call them twirlies. They would spin it up, put some paper, spin it up.
Twirlies or
And
sissy
then-
sticks?
Sissy sticks. That's what I
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
so-
that's see now that has stayed in history.
Yes.
Sissy sticks in actually England are fags.
Yes.
Right? But in America, if you say, "Hey, can I bum a fag?" that is not being woke. even though historically it means, can I have a cigarette?
Yes.
Right. Originally.
And to this day, or at least
They
up
still do in
2006 in England, they still did that
Yeah.
when I was there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the guy in the hey, could I get one of these fogs for you? And I'm
Hey,
like,
man,
excuse
can
me
I
for a
bum a
minute? And I'm like,
fag
oh,
from
here
you?
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you asking me?
I knew it took a second for the bell to ring.
The
but-
first time it happened to me was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not even smoking anything. He's like, hey, man, can I bum a fag from you?
Excuse me.
What? You know? And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have any. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What was
On to the
interesting is that they finally got really mechanized, right? So they were hand rolling everything, and then the World Fair of 1876, they had a mechanized process for making cigarettes. So here's this infographic of per capita or what kinds of tobacco people smoked, right? So cigarettes didn't take off until after really the turn of the century. Before that, it was cigars, it was roll your own, it was chewing tobacco and snuff. That's what they did.
Cigarettes became for the highfalutins. That's why it took off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I've actually noticed on a lot of these specials? Like, okay, so you're watching your fucking Netflix or Hulu or whatever fucking streaming service you have, and like they've
NBC News.
right. Well, they've cracked down on the cigarettes so much, right? So if it's set in modern times, you don't see a whole lot of people smoking cigarettes, but I have seen more and more cigars being smoked in the background or smoked by the main character or whatever. Just more and more and more cigars, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, there you go.
But what I don't like is when they tell you
At
up in the
top
left-hand corner,
contains
Oh, yeah.
smoking,
Contains
nudity,
smoking.
some
violence-
sexual situations, and a
violence,
show of boobs.
sexual this, blah, blah,
Yeah.
smoking. And it's like, really? So
Yeah.
you're classifying smoking as murder.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty soon, the little corner thing will be, pot
It'll just
usage,
have the
some crack, meth.
Instead
boobs,
of credits,
this, that.
instead
It's
of
just gonna
credits,
run
you're
all
going to
the
have
shit.
pre-credits.
scroll of
Yeah,
shit
it's
that
gonna
goes
run all
on.
the shit you can't do. Or
You're
you
going to
shouldn't
see
do.
the whole
If you
film
can't
this way.
handle cigars,
Ow,
you
ow,
can't
ow.
watch the new Thor movie out Friday.
Yeah. So,
Unless you're 21 with an adult.
all right.
Because they have smoking in it. Meanwhile, you got a new show about a teenager drinking and doing heroin, and they don't put no classifications
Fucking
on
his
it.
girlfriend that's 10 years old.
Let's go watch some more
But you think
16 and
about-
pregnant.
Think about the Victorian society. It was still common for women to do snuff.
Yes.
For women to do chew. I mean, take a look.
But why
at this.
did women do snuff though?
Because they weren't allowed
They
to
weren't
do
allowed to
Yep.
smoke in public.
Yep.
So hence the white gloves, the
That is
little
one of my
spoon.
favorite pictures that you're putting up
Yeah,
today.
right.
Check
there.
out this portrait. This lady wanted to get her portrait taken with a nice frame, and she's
Yeah.
blowing some snuff, man.
Yeah.
No,
She's
that's
like
sniffing some
snorting,
snuff.
snorting some snuff,
snorting stuff.
blowing.
Because if she
snorting.
blew it, we'd all be sniffing it.
yeah.
Can you imagine? She's just sitting there and she's like, "Wait, I have an idea."
But
Take it, take it.
Look,
Yeah, she had to hold
Hey.
that for like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
but all right. Now let's look at this picture and think back. Then you have a woman doing snuff, getting a picture. What type of woman is that? That's a highfalutin woman
Yep.
with power, right? Because of either family or the husband. And that naturally isn't done back then.
No, because the picture alone cost a ton of money back
Yep.
then.
Let alone the frame.
Yeah, the frame alone. Yeah, that's ridiculous. It looks like
And
a
then the
silver
snuff,
frame,
the snuff
maybe.
box, the dress, and then
Yeah.
be able to do it and have it basically digitized, right?
Right.
Is impressive to me.
It is.
No, it is.
It's
No, I love those old pictures like that.
right.
So back to what were we up to? 1880.
Hold on.
1880 was a huge.
By the way, this is the Tesla of information. We're going super fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's only an hour podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Ish.
Cool.
Oh, those would be the 5-cent cigars.
There's a there's a bunch of
Yeah.
there's a bunch of advertising back
Cuesta
then
Ray.
that would always say something like
Okay.
the best 5-cent cigar, right? Cigars are only a nickel and a dime.
But how were they storing them back then? Like you were telling me about the wooden jar, so to speak.
Sure.
That had just random shit in there. Some had juices, like fruit juices. Some had whiskey in there. Some had licorice flavoring.
Bourbon.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So
Their humidors were the old porcelain, glass, or wooden jars.
Right.
I mean, can you just imagine? You're going town to town back in the Old West, and you're literally at the mercy of whoever owns this tavern and whatever shit that they put into that fucking jar, and then you're smoking anisette or whatever.
Wormwood.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
get a little
I mean,
spinny.
back in the heyday, America produced 146 million pounds of tobacco in the late 1800s. It was huge.
Crazy.
This guy with Key West Cigars, he made 60 million cigars. And there were 70,000 other manufacturers in the United States at that time.
Like every like St. Louis, right? Because I covered that for a long time. They actually they had a lot of cigar stores. They made their own. There's it's going to escape me, but it's down in Old St. Charles, Missouri. There's a little cigar store there. They do a lot of pipe tobacco. I think it's something Charles, and it's an old history of cigars, and it's still there. Wow. And the guy was pretty prominent in the current industry.
Right.
And he helped set up what is now known as PCA, but back then it was the Retail Tobacco Distributor and some other stuff. So it's kind of funny that a town like St. Louis that, like Ethan said, had a bunch of stores too and made a bunch of stuff. It continued on. Like his grandfather a long time ago had it, and he used to go to all the businesses and just sell them a box open. That's how he made his money.
Yeah.
And it continued through history with the family.
Yep.
And it kind of died off, but it was still there. And then they had this cool little store, and then the old man finally passed away. And his daughter's alive, so the husband took it over.
Nice.
And he became a political figure, too, in that little St. Charles town.
Yeah, these 70,000 manufacturers, they were all
Unreal.
little boutique, family-owned deals, man.
Yep.
Well, and it's really like, especially, what were we just talking about? St. Louis. Because back then, that was the literal
Gateway to the
gateway
West.
And it was all the way up and down the Mississippi. So you were shipping shit up north. You were shipping shit down south. You were, I mean, that was.
Phillies, right? Phillies were a nickel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phillies were all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's still amazing that they're still here.
Phillies, White Owl used to
Yeah.
be a big one.
You can still find them.
You can
I
still
mean, they
find
write the
them.
price. The Marksman box up there, 5 cents a cigar, man.
Mm-hmm. And look at the artwork of the boxes back then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And the sad thing is, that's actually some great art, and it's historical. But when you advance to this time,
Yeah.
they want to strip it down. They want to make it black and white. They want to make it ugly. But back then, if you can find some of these collector pieces, they're just gorgeous.
Well, you had to set yourself away from the crowd. So if you're looking at 3 boxes and one's like, colored, and one actually took the time to put it artwork, it's like picking a CD in the 90s. You go buy the fucking cover and hope to hell that the music's good.
I do love
Right.
that tin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah.
That's a cool tin.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the amazing amount of work that they put into that just to catch an eye when, something else might not catch your eye.
Right, like that's a time period like the Marksman when you actually look at the beginning of Coca-Cola,
Right.
before they shrunk down their logo, they had stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you felt part of it. That's why you wanted to buy it.
Yep.
I mean, look at that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine just having that in a poster.
I would hang that shit on my wall right now.
I mean,
yeah.
and who's ever heard of Dante's cigars or Three Kings cigars, right? These are late 1800s cigar boxes, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just freaking amazing.
It's
I wonder in the United States who has a museum of cigar boxes.
That'd be
I
a
mean,
rad thing to
Quest
see.
It
A
would.
Ray,
That
right?
would be really cool.
Quest A Ray by J.C. Newman's still around.
Yeah.
I know they're the oldest factory in the United States. They're down there in Florida. And then, by the way, J.C. Newman and that factory has done a lot for our industry.
And they actually do have a museum down there.
Yes,
yes.
but that family, the Newmans, just so everybody listening understands what they're doing for you, they are fighting very hard against our federal government, so Quest A Ray doesn't lose its history.
Mm-hmm.
They're investing their own family money to go up against the government to maintain what they've always had in the United States.
Because we need to keep 15-year-olds from smoking 45-minute long, $15 cigars.
Now, just because he brought that up, I'll just tell you what happened in case you guys didn't know this last week. The federal judge that's presiding over this 10-plus-year-old case between our organization and the FDA smacked down the FDA because they were being devious, more or less. There's 2 words they threw out there, conspicuously and something else. But there's these studies we tried to put in, and they wouldn't allow it. And the studies are actually done, and they're accredited, and it actually shows that 0.1% of people under 21 smoke premium cigars.
Yes.
So
Keywords premium.
Correct.
Cigars.
He gave them
Not
30.
fucking blunt wraps.
He gave them 30 days to fix it,
Nice.
and they didn't.
Oh shit.
So basically, what I'm trying to tell you all out there is the war's not over, but we just took a big hill.
And
But
that's
we got
why,
a long fight.
Even to me, stuff like this is important because tobacco is the quintessential American product. It's part of the American story. And the reason why you want to go to the expense of having a museum is 'cause you're trying to retell the story because people are ignorant of history. They're ignorant of this industry and the story, and it's wedded to American history at large, right?
Well, just what I mean, all these long-standing Nat Sherman, all these long-standing places that are now closing down, they're literally stripping away 135 years of history just with that company alone.
The future sales of the tobacco in America is what helped you gain the firearms to fight the enemy.
Yeah.
So you could have religious freedom here in the United States of America, and that's what started our history to become free, was the fact that we could get some tobacco and sell it for ammunition and fight the British.
Yeah.
That is an historical fact. And now we're going back against tobacco that never asked anything from us, never asked to be picked, never asked to be fermented, never asked to be smoked, but yet gave us our freedom, and now we're turning our backs because a small population of people don't like smoke. But those same people have no problem smoking marijuana.
Or vapes.
Because smoke
There you
is
go.
smoke is smoke. I don't care if it comes from a bus or a barbecue or a cigar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Smoke is smoke.
No, I think it's ridiculous that they're cracking down on premium cigars, and you see more kids. Like, I feel like there's more kids now, like watching my daughter's age and the friend's age, that are
Vaping.
fucking vaping
How are they vaping?
like every second of the day. And
how do they get it?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be 21, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be 21.
So my thing is owning the store. If I have you guys carding all the time, that's just, it gets annoying for you. You hate it, but we have to do it. We'll soften up our approach, but how do all these kids vape? Don't they card them?
No.
So then why are we getting picked on?
Well, and it happened when the big whole 18-21 crossover came, because the people that were turning 18 that got grandfathered in now can buy for their friends that are directly 1 year behind them and miss the fucking boat. And then they're
Right.
going in there and buying 25 at a time. And then, it's like
They're going
it's like
back to high school and
it's like
selling
the
it.
new fucking weed. Yeah, they're going back and selling a fucking dime bag of
Give me
fucking apple juice.
Yeah, I want to get 1,500 of them puff grape blueberry cherry shit.
Hey, my man, can I interest you in a 5,000 puff bar?
Kind of remind.
I'll be over by the swing set.
I'm waiting for that kid to go. I got the Mott's.
Yeah,
I
right.
got the vapes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Come.
got to be like that.
But
But yeah, I
strawberry
see
kiwi?
so many fucking more people doing
Well,
vape than smoking when
It's
I was
like
a kid.
on news feed I'm on and stuff, and they were talking about the menthol cigarette killing, and then they sort of threw in sweet cigars. Now, I understand their main process is going after the grape and cherry and
Everything.
apple and thing, but they didn't specify right.
Right.
Well, one, I said this is going to be a massive failure. It's going to be tied up in courts for years because they were trying to use racism to kill the menthol to begin with.
No.
Correct.
Which I countered on talking to, some people, well, you should get rid of all cigarettes. And I'm like, well, that's cool. However, I live in South Dakota. No offense to anybody, but I sell a shit ton of menthol cigarettes.
To white people.
To white people. They're not going, I get,
We get
different kinds of
we get
Asians and
everybody.
everything in there. But I don't sell a whole ton of them to them. I'll sell cartons to white people.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And furthermore,
Menthol cigarettes.
yeah, furthermore, I have, in the 52 years of my fucking life, I've never went out behind the gym and somebody's back there toking on a Sweet Jane going, shit, I got to get back to class. Nope, never has fucking happened. Ever once.
Hey, man, can I get your axe spray so I
Yeah.
can spray it on my fingers?
A doobie, a friggin' pot, a smoke,
Yeah.
cigarette. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have never seen one out there smoking a $15 premium rolled cigar. Like, I got to get back to class. Shit.
Taking a nip of vodka
yeah.
out of a fucking Mountain Dew bottle, maybe, but
Yeah,
not fucking
yeah,
toking on
so-
a premium cigar.
Yeah, kiss my ass with all that. Anyway, next, where are we at now?
Well, I think these people are a lot cooler than the kids with the vape pens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look
fucking
at
A.
her, right?
Looking back in the day when it was not.
There we go.
What are you going to tell Poker Alice? Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Nope.
Because you'll die.
Yep. Pat Garrett, obviously Tombstone,
Yeah, all of them.
Finesse. You got William F. Cody, who Wild Bill Hickok actually worked
Question.
with for quite a bit. Yes.
How old did they live while smoking?
Actually,
Quite old.
yeah, Poker Alice was in her 80s, I think, when
Yep.
she passed.
Yep.
I don't remember Wild Bill Cody. Pat Garrett lived to be in his 70s, I believe. I do not. Lolita Crabtree was the very highest paid original
Hollywood
American Hollywood actress. So she was making $5,000 pretty much a month.
As she should have been.
Yes, and smoked cigars. There was lots of pictures of her smoking. So,
Well,
and-
Look, smoking isn't cool, but yet, like you said, even in current movies today,
No.
more and more people are smoking cigars in them.
Yeah.
So Hollywood actually,
Well,
I'm going to fast forward. Hollywood actually started the original boom in the 90s because they started putting in more movies. And then that's when Cigar Aficionado.
well, look at who was number one buyer that bought the most cigars in the 80s and 90s. Big weightlifting guy was the governor of California for
Yes.
a while.
Yep.
He actually put a tent
Yes.
so he could smoke.
Yep,
Right.
he had a tent. He could smoke, and he usually preferred Cubans, so he would get them some way or another.
Right.
But he would smoke just about any type of cigar whenever.
Yep.
On every
Here's a
break.
question, by the way, since you brought up a political figure smoking cigars. How many cigars are still stored in the White House?
Don't know.
Because remember, John
do you
F.
have
Ken-
a rough estimate?
Well, I have no
now
idea.
I'm wondering.
But we do know that JFK, before he put the embargo in place, sent Homeboy down to get
Right.
1,000
Yeah.
of the ones he liked.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, where'd he store them? Right? He lived in the White House then,
Hmm.
and he got assassinated. So that would be one of the items I don't think they necessarily paid attention
It's
to.
in the same place that all the liquor got stored when they started Prohibition and threw all the liquor in there right before they passed it.
and
Let's talk to Nancy Pelosi. I think she knows where it's at still.
I guarantee it.
Sorry.
But I mean, they probably still have some. I don't know how many, but I'm sure
Right.
there's something because since JFK till current, how many presidents really smoked? Barack Obama, right? Mm-hmm. Because he smoked a fag,
Yes.
a cigarette.
Yes.
Who else?
Well, Clinton inhaled, but never. Or no, Clinton puffed. He never
That was
inhaled.
weed.
Right. Okay, but that sort of same thing.
But
with
he was
cigar.
known for smoking cigars.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
now-
known
Smoked
for it.
$1,100 Gurkhas.
Yeah.
Right.
Did that have gold flake?
Seriously, something.
Something had to have been
Yeah.
fucking.
Got him from Epstein.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't fruit juice or molasses.
Wow.
Or did he steal them from Epstein when he left the island last time? I
And
don't
they
know.
were slightly flavored with Lewinsky. It's a different
Actually,
flavoring.
what's the prince that was involved? He's probably got the cigars.
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Anyway.
But going all the way back, like the smoking boom, and I feel like, you know, okay, they started machining cigars or cigarettes in 1876, but in the early times of film, that's when they really blew up. They didn't have, you know, back then when you had the cigar with the, you know, a guy with the cigar in the movies, it was the big fat man sitting in the corner that was always thinking of something devious to do.
Never talking, just
Yeah.
Yeah, just always the fucking downtrodden of society that
Mr.
you know,
Bond.
back when they were calling them stogies because they thought of them as shit smokes, you know. And then back to the 90s when you're what you're talking about is when they kind of got fancier again and had that rejuvenation. When, you know, Will Smith would walk around with a cigar and be like, "Don't worry, I only chew on it. I never light it." Which, who gives a fuck? You're still having a cigar in your mouth. Right. But all these celebrities started coming out in Cigar Aficionado and kind of
It was
really,
the lifestyle marketing, man.
yeah, absolutely.
that's it.
Oh, you got money? No, you don't have money until you can smoke one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of tamed back down to where it's a common man thing in the movies. It's not Joe Schmo sitting over there with a devious plan and a fucking fedora on his head. It's just a guy walking around that's smoking a cigar, and it's fucking fine, the way it should be.
Yep. And
There's
then
worse things out there.
Oh,
you step into the 20s, Al Capone. He was a big cigar smoker.
the anti-heroes.
Yeah, all the, you know, Machine Gun Kelly, Machine Gun, what's his name? Jesus. Not Kelly. Yeah, never mind.
Been listening to the top 100 hits?
Yeah, no. I just caught that on my newsfeed earlier and it stuck in my head. Now, so, I mean, but a lot of those gangsters back then, that was the thing.
Yeah.
They that's what they did.
Yeah.
Because it was now, it's moved from get away from me too. This is actually the thing you're supposed to be doing.
I mean, you could almost look at it the same way as you could look at Harley Davidsons.
Yeah.
They used to be this badass motorcycle company, or that's how they came back in, the 70s when Willie
Yeah, they took it back from
over.
AMC.
Yeah, once they got out away from AMF.
Oh, man.
Well,
by
because-
the way, I didn't like my bike in 1971 because they owned it and it looked like crap. I went to the museum, just letting y'all know.
No. But it took the same kind of curve. You wanted to be a badass. You wanted to ride a Harley. You wanted to be fucking whatever else. You're going to get a Honda or whatever, Jap bike was over here because they were more fuel economy. They ran better. They fucking lasted longer. But
You're not
you
a
wanted
bad
to be a
dude.
fucking badass. Yeah.
Yep.
So back then it was the anti-hero. It was, I want to smoke so I can be bad. Girls love, cigars and
And it
tattoos
was-
and fucking
It was
scars.
very hard to ride a bike that was owned by a bowling company.
I mean,
Then they dropped off again, and what
Yep.
saved Harley the second time? T-shirts and their hog
Merchandise.
chapters.
Yep.
well, it was the
Because they're
customers.
still not necessarily being sold like they were. And then Indian now is rejuvenated through Polaris, so you got that whole issue.
Yep.
Right.
And it's all about taking back the road and relaxation, just like cigars.
Yep.
Now that
Same
people
game.
are starting to understand that it's a community thing and you can sit down with your fellas and you can sit down and have a cigar and relax and slow down your life and make sure that you're taking the time to enjoy the small things. Have any of us picked up our fucking phone since
No,
the podcast started?
but-
no, because we're talking to each other like humans do, eye to eye.
Here's-
through lights and shit.
Here's a perfect example why
Exactly.
cigars are good. Ethan, you didn't know this, but here's what happened today. A kid came in with his parents, got cigars, started talking to him. He went to college. Guess what this kid does? He fixes websites. So I started talking to him today, and he's like, and he looked at ours. He's like, I'll tell you what. I gave him our card. He's going to look at it, and then he's going to give us some direction. And at that point, he's going to help us with it. And that's what cigars do, right? They
Yeah.
bring in a
Connections.
multitude of people into a social situation, and you actually meet people that can help you with your own business through a cigar.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, if he never smoked, I probably have to go on the internet, find a company that I think is good, that isn't going to say a la carte and cause problems down the road and get issues going. Long story short, that's what cigars do. They facilitate a conversation that allow you to go somewhere. And if you don't like smoke, I respect you.
Right.
And all I'm asking you to do is respect me because I like cigars. Prime example, I don't have children, right?
Yep.
So people used to ask me, you going to sign for the school up levy? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
They're like, why? I go, because it doesn't benefit me. I don't have children. Why would I raise my taxes? Well, it's for the future. I'm not going to be here in the future. So then I look at them. I go, hey, by the way, they're looking at raising the tobacco tax. Are you going to vote yes or no? I'm voting yes. I don't like smoke. I go, that's my example to you.
There you go.
I'm a cigar salesman. You just told me, no, you're going to ruin my livelihood.
Yeah.
But yet you want me to vote for something you need to better your livelihood.
Yes.
I'd be willing to do that if you'd be willing to do it for me.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do it, why would I put yes?
That's just no different than the set poker run we had this weekend. I'll
Right.
leave names out of it. And they come downstairs, and we're one of the sponsors. That's fine. Okay, cool. Deck of cards, pick your
Right.
card, blah, blah, blah.
2 minutes.
And one of them walked in, and then a couple of them did go buy some cigars, and one actually tipped me $1, and I think I had a stroke.
It was he didn't
Didn't buy it.
nothing.
Nope. Just
Right.
walked in, got the card, and on the way out, tipped
Yep.
me $1 and
That's-
left, and I about had a fucking
Fuck
heart
yeah.
attack. So
I like that dude.
yeah, so did I. But then the next group came in, and one of them came in. She was literally just like, "It smells super unpleasant in here," and I'm like, "Cool. There's 3 exits. One there, one there, and one back there. Why does it? Oh, it's a cigar shop." I'm like, "Yeah, you came downstairs so excited about getting your stupid poker number." You didn't realize what you were walking into. I have a cigar hanging out of my mouth. What the hell did you expect? Do you walk into a bowling alley and go, "It smells like smelly feet, oil, and there's noise of pins falling"?
No,
the hell?
but for the people that never met Stash, he probably said it that exact
Oh,
way.
yeah.
That's
No
exactly
lie.
how I said it.
I know he did.
I was polite and I didn't tell her there's 3 fucking exits. Use this one, that one, or that one and get the hell out of my face and screw your card. I
No,
didn't
but-
go that route.
He left out the cuss words, but he was direct.
Because
I love it.
I'm like, you're going to come in and bash my shit, then I'm going to bash your pile of crap car you're driving, okay? With
know-
your little stupid jacket on that makes you look cool.
What I don't get is this. Okay, They can come in because they can come in and they can complain, right?
Yeah.
But why is it that when I walk into a department store, I got to walk through a cloud of shitty ass perfume? I didn't ask for that to get to the Levi's men's jeans.
No.
Right? So should I sue them because they ruined my nostril hairs?
Or just understand that they're a business and they're doing what they have to do.
Correct. That's
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So if I want my jeans, I have to go get my jeans.
Yeah.
Which means I got to walk through the perfume. Do I like it? No, I don't. But that's how they set up their store. I'm not involved with that. I don't make decisions for them.
Yeah.
They put the jeans that's what I got to do. Oh, well. Hold my breath, get my jeans, get out. That's simple.
Yep.
And don't come into a cigar shop that they're smoking, say it stinks.
Yeah.
Why'd you come in?
That irks the hell out of me.
Or when nobody's smoking and there's no smoke, they're like, wow, it's pretty cloudy.
Yeah.
And you're like, you got glaucoma.
Come back down in 3 hours. You'll see.
It's not like it's not July and it's 100 degrees out and we have every window open, pumping fans, pulling air in and out, trying to,
Yeah.
vacate the smoke. So
Yeah.
Why is it smoke? There's no wind.
Yeah.
And we're in the basement. And we try.
yeah. All right. Where are we going next?
Cheroots, right? When they come into play? And did Hollywood put them in play?
Absolutely, but not our Hollywood.
No.
Italian Hollywood.
Yep.
Yes.
If
The
that's-
Periodis of the world,
Periodi.
which were strong and innocent-like.
Yep.
Then
So-
they diversified.
No wonder he had that shit-eating look on his face every time. I wouldn't look good if I had to smoke fucking black licorice cigars either.
Yeah, this is a myth to dispel, right?
Yeah.
What people have associated with the Old West is the Kentucky Cherroot cigar. And, they talk about the spaghetti westerns because they weren't shot in America. They, for whatever reason, they went overseas to shoot all these pictures. And the only thing they had was these machined, shitty-ass cigars that you could chew on, right? So that's associated with the Old West and Clint Eastwood specials and all of that stuff. But they didn't have that stuff in the Old West. They weren't smoking that.
Nope.
What did they look like in the Old West then? They're just
There was
like
still some rough
Corona
wrap.
style
There was still
rough
rough wrap cigars because you got to remember you're shipping shit from Virginia, wherever they made them, or Florida, or even Cuba,
No.
all the way on a wagon.
Right.
Right.
Look at
Up
these
to St.
banquet
Louis,
hall cigars on the
across.
bottom there with
Right.
the
Right.
tinfoil on the bottom.
Right. So yeah, I mean, but they had to travel mass distances on a wagon,
Yeah.
which was weeks on end.
Yeah.
I'm
How
pretty
many-
sure their humidification was not the best on
No,
those.
yeah.
You,
And
you
that
could open up a
explains-
box and have tons of beetles.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Hence,
and that explains why you would put them in the jars with all
with the other shit.
Yeah.
It's no different than bathtub gin in the 20s during Prohibition.
No.
Or
You-
Pruno in jail.
Yeah, you would take it. You would literally, those are dry as shit. You throw them in there, throw a little bit of bourbon or whatever you want to do, licorice,
Yep.
some kind of flavoring in them in the jar at the bottom to get it to basically hydrate in
Yeah.
its own way.
Yeah.
Once they got here, now they did smoke rough wrap type cigars that looked similar to that, but they were not Kentucky Cherroots. They weren't this and that.
I mean, when you think about 60 million cigars being produced by one manufacturer and there's 70,000 other manufacturers,
Yeah.
cigars were available.
Yeah.
Now, they're available, but were they quality ones that were well humidified?
No.
I mean,
No. Most
Now it's
of
more
them
a
were.
get what you get and don't throw a fit. kind of
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, probably in Philly, New York, Boston,
Yeah.
Chicago. So everything. Now, think about where we're at. We're in Deadwood, South Dakota, right?
No.
We are too far away from Denver. Would have been the closest any town nearby that had any kind of a civilization, or San Francisco on one side. Chicago is where 90% of our stuff came from. So it would come down Chicago, go over to Bismarck, come down the Bismarck Trail, and come into Deadwood that way.
Yeah.
So most of the cigars would have been coming from Chicago when they got there to us, because almost 90% of everything in here, if you look at any of these historic houses, literally mine included, Adam's house, all these historic houses have the exact same mantle over their fireplaces. It was a Sears and Roebuck,
Yep.
no shit, order form from Sears and Roebuck that was brought out on a horse and buggy. So you got to remember, everything was coming out here. So yes, they got here, they dried out. They would put them in the jars, put them in the casinos, put them in the Faro houses, put them in the, not casinos, the
Brothel.
brothels, everywhere. They were literally everywhere in town. And we had a lot of famous people. I mean, Soul Star smoked them.
All of them.
All of them pretty much did. Bullock did.
Swearinger.
The really cool thing is when you do the Adams House tour, right? So
Correct.
Mr. Adams, they were a key family in
Grocer.
early Deadwood history.
Yep,
You do the
grocer.
tour of his house, and he's got his little study with his desk and his easy chair. And you look in the corner, and there's a little tiny curio cabinet.
Yep.
And the top's got the flip-out ashtray, and the bottom is a full-on, right?
Humidor.
Right before 1900.
Yep.
It's humidor.
And then up in his attic, which would be the Widow's Walk, is his cigar lounge where he would go physically smoke cigars up at the very top. So there was, it was built in by 1876 when he was coming into town. He got into town, I think, in 1879 or 80, somewhere in there. So he was here to mind the miners, a grocer, had money, got plenty of money, built that. Saul Starr, Seth Bullock. Saul Starr was born in Germany, actually. Came into the United States through New York, I believe. And then Seth Bullock was up in Canada, and his father basically ran off on him and his 7 kids, or his 7,
Siblings?
his siblings, or his kids, I should say, Seth Bullock's father.
Yeah.
Left the wife and everything else. He basically took off, the bank repoed everything, and he ran off to go to Montana. So that's how he got a start as a lawman. And then ended up meeting Saul Starr up there in Montana. They decided, let's go to Deadwood and start a hardware store because he was pretty much sheriffed out in the town he was in Montana. And he rolled down with him and built the little hardware store, which now is where the Bullock Hotel now stands.
Well, and the most popular one, I mean, every picture that you see of her, Poker fucking Alice.
Poker Alice, yes.
Always had a cigar hanging out of her mouth, shotgun
Yep.
in her hand,
Born in England, came over to Virginia, and then went to Credence, Colorado, and then ended up coming over here, married over there, came over here. Her husband died. Little funny story about this. She actually married her next husband, and he pulled a knife on her playing cards because she thought she was cheating. She pulled out a 38.
Shot him.
Nope. Didn't shoot him. She basically, hence the phrase, don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
Not that was started there, but it was prior to that, but she literally lived by that law. So she pulled out her 38, he dropped the knife. Next thing you know, they're dating and they got married.
She's like, you look pretty sweet when you were scared.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm the alpha.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, she was here in Deadwood she was in Credence for a while, moved out here this way when the gold rush was happening. Literally was taking money from everybody in town here.
Cleaned up.
Yep. Once her second husband, the one she pulled the 38, died, she had no means of living. Now, he was a poker player, so she learned how to play poker from him.
Oh, okay.
But when he died, she had no means to survive, and she had like 5 kids from him.
Wow.
Of the 7, 5 were still in the house.
Very passionate after you pull a gun.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Great makeup sex.
yes.
You will.
Yeah. So anyway, she did that, and she would, obviously take the miners' money, and then she figured out, oh, wait a minute, over in Sturgis, if I go over there's a fort right outside of Sturgis.
Yep.
Let me go over there, and she basically would literally take all the soldiers' money every weekend or every month when they got paid.
I mean, it
they'd
was
all hit the town.
It was called Scoop Town back then for
Yeah.
a reason,
Yep.
because you would go down there, scoop whatever supplies you needed to get before you went up the
Correct.
hill to Deadwood, or
Yep.
scoop up some
Right. And
provisions or whatever.
She went back there, and that's where she lived, and then eventually died. She's buried in Sturgis, actually.
How long of a trek was that back then from Sturgis to Deadwood?
Oh, it was
Half a day?
It was more than that.
probably a day at
3/4 of a day at least.
Wow.
So
That's a long...
No.
We should walk that.
no, let's not.
We talked about it once.
We did talk about it once.
For charity.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we'll call it the Poker Alice Charity Walk.
Charity walk.
Just pulling names out of our asses.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
smoke
fuck
a
it.
cigar. You get people to sign up
Because when you're
per
walking
step.
10 miles uphill, what you want to do is smoke a cigar the entire way.
But that's what we talked about.
And the
Smoking a
ambulance,
cigar.
We did.
we will have the ambulance right behind us, just in case one of us drops out.
Plenty of water.
Yes.
Not because of the
I
cigars,
don't
just
drink
because we're
water.
old and out of shape.
And by the way, when we get done, we'll have pizza. At one of the fine 19 pizzerias.
There's only 14.
But
5 closed.
One for every 100.
so with that, the cigars. There's a picture of now Seth Bullock he was here when he was sheriff. He wasn't the official sheriff to begin with. He was sort of elected by the camp miners. He brought the law and order to the town, is what he did. And he had many runs in, minus what the HBO series said, that they weren't in cahoots with each other pretty much. They hated each other's guts. So there was never this whole come over, have a meeting bullshit. It was
With Swearingen?
yeah, it was never like that. They were never, they were always opposites.
Yep.
Swearingen was there to make money. He was there to be, road agents, ruthless, kill whoever he didn't like and whatever the past beyond. But
Yeah.
so as it went, he did like his cigars. If you go to the Bullock Hotel and do the ghost tour, there is a part in that tour where you'd be walking around and a lot of people do smell cigar smoke because he loved his cigars. He eventually moved on before he passed away. He was good friends with Theodore Roosevelt, who also enjoyed a cigar. Mm-hmm. So when Theodore Roosevelt died, he built the Friendship Tower. Then he passed away later. But he also created the whole town of Belle Fourche, pretty much. Him and Saul Starr went into a little bit of business up there. Moved the cattle town from a little town called Mininian, something like that, just a little bit south of Belle Fourche. Convinced the railroad to come up there and turned it into one of the largest cattle towns for a short period before.
How
the
much
rest of it
money
went.
did
It's still known as a cattle
Seth
town.
Yeah.
Bullock create for himself during that time?
He created a lot of businesses and money himself.
And then
he was always in the
he did have,
tour.
yeah, he did have several kids.
Yes.
So they did well, but I
Yep.
wonder when that lineage faded out of America.
I don't know. I
Would
mean,
be
that's
interesting.
Yeah.
That would be
Right?
interesting.
I mean, you can probably trace his lineage out to where
Yeah.
his
There's got to be
relatives are
somebody
now.
still alive.
Right.
But it would be funny to see what happened. You know,
Who tripped over what
Yeah,
fence
if you
when.
made that
Yeah.
much money, how come you couldn't
Yeah.
become a Rockefeller, a DuPont,
Right.
a Hershey, something, right?
Right.
Because you're in South Dakota.
Right, and you would figure somewhere in his lineage, somebody would be like him as an entrepreneur and could see what could be needed and bring it.
Well, he did that out of necessity. His dad
Right.
was pretty much the most abusive person on earth from the way I read from his own memoir. He ran away, went to his older brothers in Montana, that's where he ended up going.
Could you imagine
And
that
grew
trek
up.
down from Canada
Oh, yeah.
back then?
Yeah.
Oh,
He walked.
Shit. Yeah, that would have been horrible.
I mean, what do you do at night when you're tired and you're still walking and all that funky creature stuff is out there?
Yeah.
Because they're hungry too.
Yeah.
Lay down, do one of these. And
Yeah. Hope
And
Take
hope
a
you
nap.
hear before it's too
Right.
close. Because look, bears today in a tent, they still get you.
yes.
Yep.
They haven't changed,
No.
right?
Just ask that guy that was
Mauled,
up in
the Navy SEAL.
No. There's
Not
a guy
that
up in
one?
Alaska. that-
There's been two recently.
yeah. Well, this was a couple of years ago, and he was a big.
You talking about you glass?
Yes. He was up in Alaska, and he's always, bears, my friends, they're all cut. They never
Oh,
hurt you.
no,
And he
no,
got his
that's
ass.
not Hugh Glass.
No, it wasn't him. It was somebody else, but he got his ass
Grizzly
handed to
Man.
him. Yeah. He was up
stuff's
there
crazy.
talking about how cool they were and all this shit. And he'd go up and try to pet them and get friends with them, become part of the den or clan or whatever the hell it was. And he got his ass handed to him by him later on.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because
Him
look,
and his wife. Or him
Yeah.
and
you
his
got to
girlfriend.
realize,
Yeah.
at some point in time, one of them bears are going to take it as a challenge because it's about the alpha,
Yeah.
right? So there had to be one that was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
If you talk to his friends, it was an unfamiliar bear that was in from out of town visiting some cousins that was just getting a little peckish walking around.
Got a little high on pot while he was
Yeah,
seeing his buddies
fucking
and just went out and
yeah.
attacked them. Yeah, I get
Was
it.
chewing
I got
on
it.
some
Yeah.
ditchweed and figured, what the fuck? There's
Them
a
damn dewberries. Amazing what they can do to a bear.
Yeah,
It's
but-
amazing what we could do to history.
We've totally
we've
slaughtered
really
this
gone
shit,
all
but-
over the place. I want to
But
say,
so are cigars, though.
Oh, fucking
cigars
A,
have
man.
been all over the place.
absolutely.
You know, different climates out there don't like cigars. And doing trademarks, you find this out. Which areas do, which areas don't. What hoops you got to jump through. Why, when you jump through them, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Oh, yeah. Always is.
And it's a game that we're willing to play at Deadwood Tobacco Company. Actually, we can prove it if you go on to deadwoodtobacco.com, order your favorite cigars from us, and get a Cracker Jack prize from Diana, the shipping bitch.
Since you
Yes.
brought that up,
Yes.
what is Cracker Jack?
Cracker Jack, what we like to do is we like to throw in a little bit of extra every time that you order. If you order a box or more, we're going to toss in, maybe a lighter, maybe a cigar, maybe a bandana, maybe some swag of some sort. But we always try to make sure that we treat everybody that comes to our shop, whether it be in person or through the web, with a little special experience that they get to know that we do care and we're gonna give away some shit.
Yeah,
Because-
'cause
Mine's just my flowery fucking attitude.
plus,
Yes.
if you're going to buy,
Yes.
let's
Take
just
that
say
home.
Yeah.
a box of exclusives.
Or
Diana's
Sturgis
not.
Rally cigars.
Diana's not going to give you a Perdomo Lot 23.
Yeah, no.
No.
If you're buying a box of Padron 64s, most likely you're going to get an equivalent price point stick.
Yes.
Period.
Yep.
Along with everything else.
Yeah, we're not giving away shit sticks. I mean, we're going to make sure that it fits what you smoke and what your profile that you show online, what you're ordering. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that you feel special every time that you get to deadwoodtobacco.com. Make sure that you give Diana a call. Make sure you just say, hey,
Tony.
this is so-and-so.
Tony's
Breathe
got
heavy.
Tony's got our shout out for the week.
Yeah.
Tony's shout out.
Yeah. So, what was his name? I'm
Mark
sorry.
Stevens.
Mark Stevens, yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much for coming
did these
in, Mark.
cool mugs for us and
Yeah.
dropped them off. That's pretty badass.
Dropped him off. He had plenty of questions. We hope that we answered all of them as thoroughly as we can. It was nice to see him in the shop, seeing a fan in the shop, and making new friends.
Maybe we can, down the road after we get through some of these events, we'll pop him on this if we can make that work live, and he can be our consumer questions.
Yeah, that'd be
there you go.
awesome.
Bring him on for 5-10 minutes, let him ask a couple questions, boom.
Absolutely.
And then we can cycle him through a couple times, right?
Fucking A.
Why not?
I like that.
Because sometimes the end result consumer is afraid to ask a question.
Sometimes they are. And I really like that we provide an environment that we can not only just sell you a stick, but make sure we're selling you the right stick. I always say that I'd rather sell you a $5 cigar 10 times than sell you one $50 cigar that you are not into and think that I'm a dick for selling you, even though you wanted it because you won big at the salons machine. Anyways, but we want to make sure that you are happy walking out of those doors, as happy as you were walking in those doors. It's just one of our things, man. We like to see the people come in. We like to help out. We like to make sure you're getting the right stick, and we want to make sure that you're coming back for more.
So when you're doing in the cigar thing, history has a part in this too,
Yeah.
because we've had history with this.
Yes.
So you're going to come in the cigar bar. I'd rather have you be honest. Tell me you don't know shit about cigars.
Yes,
we will
absolutely.
educate you.
Yeah.
If you sit there and say you know everything, you're going to embarrass yourself, and your girlfriend's going to walk out on you, and you're not going to finish your beer, and it's going to be really ugly.
And a segue to some history at
History.
Deadwood. The
Move
next
here.
event we got coming up is the 100th anniversary of Deadwood.
Oh, Days
Days
of
of
76
76
rodeo, yes.
Yes.
Rodeo, parade, there's going to be a ton of stuff going on.
They
and we
l-
do have Ashton cigars in the house, and we're going to have Ashton specials.
Fuck yeah, that's why we
There
had
you go.
Sam on a couple weeks ago, and we also had Michael from Shiner. They're both going to be representing their brands. Come in and say hi, get a fucking drink, get a fucking smoke, have a fucking good time, huh?
The rodeo, right?
Yeah.
All I can say is Deadwood does it right. We
They
started
do.
out small, we went medium, now we large. We conquered it all in the history of rodeo.
Number one rodeo in the United States.
Deadwood, South Dakota. Our
fucking
little
represent.
theater kicks
Yep.
butt.
Absolutely.
And by the way, if Red Bull's listening, we would love the crashed ice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
The Red Bull rep came in today, so it's on my
Oh,
head.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
And
okay.
I know Kenny. Kenny used to smoke
I'm like,
cigars.
fuck did this come from?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Right, Kenny used to smoke
Yeah.
cigars in Omaha, Nebraska at Safari Cigar, and now he's the Red Bull rep out here. And,
Okay.
I've known him for a while, and I was like, I'm gonna challenge you. He's like, what? I go, crashed ice. He smiled. I go, I know they'll never come, but if they want a historical town with a winter scene, we have it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Definitely.
And you talk about people that are willing to travel to Deadwood versus Minneapolis.
Yep.
You're only going to get the locals in Minneapolis, even though there's a lot.
Nope.
But here you're going to pull, because Deadwood's like a marketing town.
Yeah.
So you're going to get Denver, Minneapolis, Nebraska, Montana, Texas.
All of Wyoming.
Could you imagine the crashed ice? Because
All
we have
600,000.
natural
Yeah.
slopes, and we can make ice like nothing.
Absolutely.
It would be a fun time.
So
It
that
would be a great time.
I want crashed ice.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in for yet another installment of Blow and Smoke from the DTC crew. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest.
Is Elon Musk? No, he's bailed. Well, maybe he's not. We're waiting to see.
Nah, fuck him. We'll be
It's
here
still
anyways.
up, so use
Hey,
it while you
they can also
Yeah.
send us a message through the website,
Absolutely.
deadwoodtobacco.com.
Or you can actually
DeadwoodTobacco.com.
come in and just say hi.
Yeah, face to face, handshake, get a stick. We'll talk to you.
Send a picture, video.
And if you piss me off, I won't. But most of the time, I will talk.
And make sure that if you guys have any fun pictures from the past from Deadwood Tobacco, that you're tagging us in them on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that everybody out there knows what they're missing out on and want to get a little flow going. So if you could get those pictures onto one of those sites or email at info@deadwoodtobacco.com.
Before we close out,
Yeah.
6 weeks,
6 weeks.
we start the build out.
We start the build out.
It'll be done in January.
I thought
we
you
will
said,
be in the new spot at the end of the year. Sign the contract. Moving forward 6 weeks, they start the build out.
Boom.
Yay.
It's real.
We're all fucking excited about it.
Yes.
Deuces.
Anyways, thank you everybody for coming in. We will talk to you later. Peace.
Next one will be Rally.
Yeah, rally, huh?
All right.